All right, welcome back to another video. This one will be on probability. Probability is unit 7.1, so go ahead and write that up there. Your learning intention, mine is incorrect, but yours is right on your paper, is to understand how the probability of an event indicates its likelihood. So to know that we are successful with that, we will be able to identify possible outcomes of an experiment. We can use probability and relative frequency to describe the likelihood of an event, and we can use relative frequency to make predictions. So this whole front page is going to be some key terms for us. So we're going to look at that first one, and that first one says experiment. So an experiment is an investigation or a procedure that has varying results. Okay, varying results. And then we have outcome, which is the possible results of an experiment. So possible. So what may happen. The event is a collection of one or more outcomes. So it depends on how many times I do the experiment. Favorable outcomes are the outcomes of a specific event. Probability is a measure of the likelihood or chance that an event will occur. And probability, we find probability by doing the number of the desired outcomes by the number of the possible outcomes. And then here's a little scale for you. So if you get 0%, then it's impossible. 25% is unlikely. 50% is it's equally likely or to happen or not happen. 75% is likely, and then 100% is certain. So you might see some questions where it's going to ask you where your probability lies, and you're going to have to give an answer that looks like one of these. Okay? So relative frequency, which is our last key term, is the fraction or percent of the time that an event occurs in the experiment. So the fraction or percent, then that's what this is, of the time that an event occurs in the experiment. So this would be our relative frequency. Okay, let's flip this over. So this backside is just guided practice. So you will just go along with me as we do these. So your first one is identifying outcomes. So you spin a spinner and it says how many possible outcomes are there? Okay, so well, we would need to figure out how many numbers are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 possible outcomes. So that's what we'll write. 6 possible outcomes. Then it says, what are the favorable outcomes of spinning an even number? Okay, so let's see which ones are even and which ones are odd. So we know 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, those are even. So 2 and 4, so there's 2 evens and there are 4 odds. So the favorable outcome, so let's say the favorable outcome of spinning an even number, and make sure you're actually writing all of this down and not just writing certain parts. I want you to write the whole thing down. An even number are 2 and 4. So what are the favorable outcomes? 2 and 4 are even numbers, so there is a favorable outcome of 2 to 6, right? So in how many ways can spinning a number less than 2 occur? So in how many ways can spinning less than 2 occur? So the possible outcomes of spinning a number less than 2 are 1, 1, and 1. So spinning a number less than 2 can occur in 3 ways. So it can occur in 3 ways. Okay, so that's how we identify some outcomes. So now let's look at describing the likelihood of an outcome happening. Okay, so this one says there is an 80% chance of rain, a 50% chance of thunderstorms, and a 15% chance of hail tomorrow. Describe the likelihood of each event. So there is a rainstorm, or there is rain tomorrow. So we would say the probability of rain tomorrow is 80%. So the probability of rain is 80%. So it says describe the likelihood. So because 80% is close to 75%, because let's look back here when we're talking about the likelihood, and when we're trying to figure this out, because it's close to that 75%, I'm going to say it's likely that it will occur. So it is likely. Now, there are thunderstorms tomorrow. Well, there is a 50% chance of thunderstorms. 50% chance of thunderstorms. And because I know when I was looking at my scale here in the front, right here, because I know that 50% means that it is equally likely to happen or not to happen. That's what I'm going to put. So it's equally likely to happen or not happen. Then we have there is hail tomorrow. So hail tomorrow, it says that there's a 15% chance of hail. And because 15% is between 0 and 25, I'm going to say it is unlikely that that will actually happen. Okay, so this is how, when we're looking at, in this case, weather, this is how we would use this relative frequency to find out how likely is this to actually happen. Okay, so let's look at our last one. So using relative frequency, we are going to flip a bottle and record the number of times it lands upright and the number of times it lands on its side. Describe the likelihood that the bottle lands upright on your next flip. So here's what we have here. So it landed upright twice, and it landed on its side 23 times. So I know the number of times the event occurred. So it actually happened 2 times, right? What we wanted to happen. And the total amount of flips, which was 25. So the relative frequency is 2 to 25, or 8%. So it is unlikely. It is unlikely that the bottle lands upright. Lands upright. All right, that's what you need to know about probability.